All right, Kevin, Eon K. Grissom,
Eon.
we are live. Hola. So we worked out our technical difficulties. We are now live. All right, so I'm going to head over just to make sure. I'm going to look at our live events. Yes, we are definitely live now. Okay. All right, so what we're going to talk, we're just going to do like a quick show about UFOs tonight, right?
Intro to UFOs.
Intro to UFOs. I like that. Because yeah, there's some simple stuff about UFOs everyone needs to we need to cover, I think. But then there's like far out stuff with UFOs that people you generally don't think of. I hear wild things, every other day, just out of this world. No pun intended, kind of stuff.
Coast to coast.
So, what do you guys say about UFOs?
Well, I think UFOs, well, obviously UFOs, um,
True.
a lot of people think about, extraterrestrial beings, but it could be test government, uh, you know, whatever, vehicles. It could be hallucination. Could be something that was thought to be more amazing than it really is. Some of that's kind of boring compared to what we want it to be, which would be like extraterrestrials or some kind of cool
Hmm.
futuristic technology. I've never seen any of them myself, but I'd like to.
I thought I saw some once.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So what was up with that?
So I was reading. Some people may not know the story of Billy Meyer, but Billy Meyer apparently is in contact with aliens from the Pleiadians. Or well, sorry, they are Pleiadians. You say it pretty good. I don't.
From the
Um,
Yeah, they're the Pleiadians from the Pleiades.
Pleiades, yes. Um, but they have these. The Pleiadians apparently talk to Billy Meyer. Billy Meyer's written some books. I was reading one of the books, and I happened to. I had to go outside to feed the dogs. It was nighttime, and so I'm reading the book. I put it down for a minute. I go outside, and I look up at the sky, and I'm like, well, I guess if you're real Pleiad, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if you're real Pleiadians, you'll show yourself. And as soon as I said that, like it looked like an orange triangle went zipping by over my house. I'm standing in the backyard, and I mean zipping by.
When was this?
This year, end of last year,
Okay.
2014, October. It was still kind of maybe as a warm day, one of the warm days out of the cold days. But I was outside, so it was like a little blip, glowing orange triangle that went by. Um, Seemed like just under the speed of light, no noise, no nothing, zipped by, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So I stood out there for a little while longer, and I stared. I looked up at the sky, and I was just focusing on this, like a star here. I'll just look at a star for a minute, see if it was flashing colors, moving, anything like that. And so I'm looking at this one star, and a red light just zips towards it and zips out and back out to space. And it was far away. It was looked like it was super far away, but it was so fast. And so I went inside and I just told my wife, "My God, I think I saw some crazy stuff." But it was so quick. The first one was so quick, and then the second one was so far away that you could easily justify in your mind that was bullshit. You know. um, so
Yeah.
the very next day, I'm reading the same book. Dogs need to get fed. I go outside. It's dark time. It's clear outside, just like the day before. And I'm feeding the dogs, and I look up in the exact same spot where I saw the triangle the day before, and another one went by. It was like seeing the same bug twice or something. It was just unbelievable. This time it was a little bit slower and it was a little bit closer. But I saw it twice, um, and I didn't expect to see it the second time that I was it scared the crap out of me.
Hmm.
So, but then I'm like, okay, I'm hanging out here. I got to keep the dogs apart so they don't eat each other's food. So I'm out there for a little while, and I look over out towards the horizon, and I see this white light, zipping across the sky, probably thousands of miles per hour. But it takes it a good 2 minutes to go from horizon to horizon. And I watched it the whole time, and after about a minute, I look down and I look around and I look back up and it's still moving. It's still there. It's not an illusion. But I saw that, and then at the next few weeks, you start hearing things like the government could have that technology. They could have floating objects and things like that uh, because of technology that they back engineered in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard the Bob Lazar story?
No.
Bob Lazar is hella famous in the UFO field.
Mm-hmm. I've
But the
heard the name.
story's kind of been waned. Yeah, the story's waned off a little while because it was big in the 90s. Apparently, he was hired. He was a contractor, and he was hired to go to Area 51 in like 88, 89, 90, 91, somewhere around there. And he went to Area 51. His sole purpose, his sole job, was to break down parts of UFOs and back engineer them.
Sounds like a pretty
So
sweet gig.
yeah. So he has this big long story about how he took people out to Area 51 to watch flight tests because they already had back engineered how to fly a UFO, and now they were trying to manufacture them. So they would take UFOs for flight tests over Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
He also named elements of the periodic table that didn't exist before. So he says there's this element 115. Element 115 wasn't discovered until 10 years later.
Hmm. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, pretty weird. But I guess that's kind of a basic UFO story. I would ask everyone to go listen to a podcast or YouTube videos with Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
But Kevin, I'm wondering if I'm getting feedback on the video because I can hear myself talk
Here, let me turn
through
down
my
my volume a
speakers
little bit.
onto your mic. Maybe you can pop in headphones or something.
Yeah, let me try that, actually.
All right. And while you're doing that, so let's see, Bob Lazar. What's some other good things about Bob Lazar that are really crazy? He said there was an Area 52 or something. Maybe it was Area. I don't know if it was Area 52, but there was another black site area like a dry lake bed, and he said that's where the real UFO action happens. They have garage doors set into the side of a mountain, and they have dozens, or I don't know if it's dozens, but they had a number of UFOs in these garage doors out in the out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows where it was. You could just land a huge jet onto the dry lake bed. You didn't have to have a runway. It was completely hidden. Satellites couldn't take pictures over it. So, but he flew from Vegas to Area 51, so there was no roadways into Area 51 at the time that he was there. You could only get there by plane, so you had to fly in, and at the end of the day, they flew him out every day, every work day anyway.
They didn't use the underground tunnels.
He didn't say anything about underground tunnels for Area 51, but he did say that it was super compartmentalized. Like you couldn't even talk to another person if they weren't in the need to know.
Hmm.
So that's people. The only time that they saw each other was in the plane there and on the way on the way back. But what I mean, what's your basic UFO experience stories? Do you have anything you want
I
to
mean, I don't have any
talk about?
experiences, unfortunately. I'd love to have an experience, and it makes complete. Well, I mean, you got two different concepts. You got aliens or extraterrestrials. Do they exist on other planets? The question is,
Yeah,
which of course they do, right?
yeah,
We
sure.
have to. I mean, we're here. It doesn't really make any sense that we're here, but we are. Why the hell wouldn't they be there? So the other question is, can they get here? Are they advanced enough to, you know, create some technology? It's always assumed that they're like 500,000 years more highly evolved than us, or something. Or some people get into like more new age stuff and think that they're divine. They've transcended. They're from higher realms. They're almost like angelic or something. They have knowledge. They've there's the assumption sometimes that they're past the whole like eye for an eye concept, that
Hmm.
they were really lower evolved, and we're probably not even going to make it, and they're trying to help us. They're trying to watch us or help us. I like to think it's true. I like to think that there's this cool stuff going on where there's these highly evolved beings above us that are aware of us, that are, I guess you could perceive them to be God if you had an experience with them.
Hmm. Yeah,
You can see
ancient
it in a lot of
aliens.
religions. Yeah, I mean, you can see in a lot of religions experiences people have claimed to have had, and it seems to be
You know what?
possible
I think if there were
extraterrestrial.
bad aliens out there, we wouldn't even be here anyway,
We'd be, yeah,
right?
because, yeah,
We would have been
yeah,
wiped
I mean,
out like hundreds of
if they
billions of
have the
years ago.
technology to fly here, then they definitely have the technology to create a weapon that would
Yeah,
just wipe
I'm
us
sure they
out,
have
sure.
weapons. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
they have
mean, you
weapons.
would.
I just think there's probably some sort of galactic um, overlord control, which is probably just thought itself, you know. But I mean, you're because we're starting to get the concept of karma here, but they probably have figured that out 100 times over. You know, like yeah, when you die, you don't die. You come back as another person, or you stay in the astral plane or whatever. You know, you're nothing but energy, and your karma is everlasting. So if you go and destroy an Earth planet, that just means that you have millions of lifetimes you have to relive, or millions of lifetimes you have to live because you've done that. So
Well,
I
yeah,
think that once once you've got an involvement to a certain level, you're not gonna go out attacking people in the universe.
right. I mean, you understand that that's just the same as attacking yourself.
Yeah,
So there's really no sense in doing, attacking yourself.
right.
So if they yeah, listen to me, I can't even talk. If they are that way, it'd be pretty cool to perceive things the way they perceive things. Can you imagine? I mean, it's so hard because even on our best days, we're very human.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, maybe we have more powers, or power is probably not the best word, but we probably have that within us.
Sure.
Um,
That might be why they're visiting us all of a sudden.
to remind us.
Oh, that it passed 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 years. Who knows? But it obviously, I mean, if you believe in evolution, it obviously took us hundreds of thousands of years to evolve our mind to where it is. But I've heard people say that animals might be more evolved than we are. They've been here longer.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe they went through speech already, and now they don't need to talk.
yeah, I don't really have any knowledge of ancient past. I
Me either.
when humans appeared, I have no idea. Um,
There's some really good mind-boggling like theories from just reading Pleiadian, the Pleiadian books.
hmm
There's just a lot of theories I would have never contemplated, never even come up with on my own. Even if they're fake or real, whatever, they're just really fun to read. They're fantastic. Like for instance, in the Pleiadians say that they brought our moon to us. They
they say
physically,
that, huh?
yeah, they physically took a moon from another planet and rolled it into our atmosphere or our orbit, so that we could form, or the oceans, land, things like that would form more lush.
Give it a little
But
little
I'd have to find
balance.
that in this. Yeah, yeah, balance. That's probably better. Yeah, so you'd have the magnetic fields would start to turn, and all that stuff would start happening. Like it's essential for you to have a moon for a planet to work correctly. I guess that's their discovery with their hundreds of thousands of years. But apparently, each Pleiadian person lives 1,000 years or plus, um, and they say that's because they don't have the radiation exposure like we do on Earth. But anyways, I'm looking. There's so many Pleiadian books out there. There's like for each person they contact, they transmit a book telepathically to this person. So if you go to Amazon or something and search Pleiadian contact, something like that, you'll get
hmm
10 different authors, 15 different books each one. I mean, I found I came across one today called Pata Tapes, and I was gonna buy it. It was like $3. Um, but man, I mean, there's so many books. Every time I listen to another radio show or something, there's another book that came out and I can't get to.
So is the message from the Palladians basically the same every time, or does it sort of change? And some of them are probably kind of fishy, I would imagine. Some people probably claim that they've been
Uh,
contacted, and it's kind of like, I don't know about this guy.
yeah. So even the Pleiadians, when they're talking to Billy Meyer, they're telling him that there's definitely fake people out there saying that they're being contacted by the Pleiadians because I think back then, all he had his newspapers and 4 television stations, and you couldn't really call BS on someone as easily as you can today.
hmm
And people couldn't just jump on a jet and go to Switzerland, where Billy Meyer is. So, but these days, if you say you're contacted, you should have pictures, video, you know, multiple witnesses, or else nobody's even going to pay attention to you. Um, and I think that, man, if you're gonna go out on a limb and tell people that you're being contacted by aliens, you better have some proof, or nobody's gonna pay attention to you. You know.
Pretty much, yeah. That
So,
makes sense. So your proof is your story.
you mean the things that I saw in the sky?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it could be government. It could be something the government has, but the orange triangle that I saw came into existence and out of existence in the same window that I was looking at, you know, in the same peripheral area. So it didn't go from horizon to horizon like the last one that I saw, but it went. It was just blip in, blip out, and then the other one the next day was much faster. In fact, I thought I was going to crash into the earth. It was so fast, but nothing ever happened. No sounds, no nothing. But the one that sticks with me the most is something that I probably didn't that you can't fake is the light that went from horizon to horizon, and I watched it dark at night go all the way across 2 minutes. I just watched that thing go across, and as I was going across, because we're in Atlanta here, I'm in the field where the planes are coming in to land, so I'm in that little area, and a plane was like thousands of feet under it, as it's coming into land, and it's making noise, and it's got its lights flashing. This one was just a solid white light going across the sky. But of course I can't. I came inside and I was like, I think I saw a UFO, and nobody laughed at me,
Yeah,
but they just looked at me. So,
I've had
they look
dreams
at they look at me funny.
that I've seen a UFO, and when I wake up, it seems so real.
Yeah,
So I know the
that
feeling
they
you're
describe.
saying.
They say that that they'll contact you through your dreams. That the
Yeah,
astral, once you get highly evolved, once you get even, even to the, what is it? We're at the third plane right now. We're trying to evolve into the fourth plane of a consciousness. Once you're in the fourth plane, you can leave and come back. So you can go into the astral and come back into the physical body. I think five is astral only, but there's, whatever, how many levels, I'm not quite sure.
yeah. I mean, and where that information comes from,
Yeah, it's all questionable stuff. Who knows?
it's all questionable, but that's how I learned my true name, Eon, by asking for it,
Yeah,
and it came to me in a dream. That's actually how I got this hat. Did I tell you about that?
let's see the hat.
The hat is
The
it's the old
Looks like
Atlanta
a old
Braves
Atlanta
hat.
Braves, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just had this random dream one night that I was I don't know, I was just wearing the hat and it was my hat. It wasn't anything unusual at all. But when I woke up, I thought it was interesting. So I immediately ordered it from Amazon.
Nice.
Yeah. What's funny about that too is that so it's the Atlanta Braves, right? And the company is called the American Needle. See that?
Okay. Yeah.
Made in Bangladesh. So it's the American Needle Company, manufactured in
Made in
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
From straight from Amazon to me.
Yes. Yeah. You know that made in America that you can put on your product if you're a manufacturer. Um, so that's kind of iffy because you can have all of your supplies made in China, Indonesia, Europe, wherever, then shipped on barges over to the United States, and they can be up to 60% assembled when they get here. And then you can do the last 40% and call it American made, made in
That's right.
America. Yeah.
Got to get that minimum.
So
How about the
yeah, I got
marketing
there's got to
dollars?
somebody had to have gotten a lawsuit on that one.
Yeah, gotta appear legit. Do the bare minimum to
Yeah.
appear patriotic. Now, there's also Roswell, right? So what happened in Roswell?
Um. Yeah. What? So I think that story was even dead for like 30 years, and nobody had even cared about it. Apparently a UFO crashed in Arizona, New Mexico, right? And
Roswell, New Mexico. Yes,
yeah, army was called out. Oh, supposedly the crash was like 2 days old, so it crashed. Nobody was even there to see it. Um, Farmer John, somebody comes out there on his range to find a cow or something, and finds this debris field with supposedly some alien bodies hanging out in a whatever you want to call that. I guess they're sitting in their seats in a spaceship. That's the rest of it's been scattered all over the place. Army comes in, supposedly takes the UFO, but I mean that's the biggest story ever. They say, a newspaper runs with a story saying that the UFO was picked up. Army confirms it, and then the next day they say nope. It was a weather balloon that fell to the sky, fell to the ground. Sorry, we just didn't get around to telling you.
Sorry.
But anyway, once they said that, like the story died. Nobody in the United States even followed it anymore. But the UFO fervor was still kind of um, big time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I haven't read a Roswell book. I know there's millions of them out there. Not millions, but there's loads of
Well
people who have
documented, yes.
researched Roswell.
I went there one time and
Yeah,
camped out.
and there's just yeah.
Yeah.
How do the stars look out there?
I don't remember anything spectacular. I was only there one night, and maybe it was overcast. Maybe I just don't remember. But I spoke with a couple people who grew up around there,
Yeah.
and they knew someone, knew someone who knew someone. It's a small town, so everybody knows
Mm.
everybody, it seems. But they were
You
saying that
stay
the
at the
guy
Alien.
at the Alien, I did not. They had an alien museum actually that I wanted to go in, but it was really hot, and I had my dog with me, and I couldn't leave him in the car.
No.
So I didn't go into the museum, even though I figured it's probably just kind of cheesy, touristy stuff anyway. At the gas station, it's funny because you got little, alien everything, alien lollipops and alien stuffed animals and stickers and everything. And
Yeah.
but yeah, everybody said that it seemed like there was apparently a farmer that it had crashed in his field, and he told the story to everybody. And he was not crazy, and he was reputable, and he said that it was definitely some kind of non-human entity, kind of humanoid, alien-looking, laying there, bodies either dead or wounded, and the military just rushed in and cleaned it up. Apparently, they took a few people with them. And maybe that I don't remember the specifics, but the government took some people with them, and then those people came back, and those people wouldn't say anything, like they had been shut up.
Oh yeah.
They had
I
been
wonder.
hushed.
I mean, just the small threat that someone says you better not say anything, or uh, you might not see your family. I wonder why people go okay. Um, don't disappear me, please. Like we live in South Korea or North Korea or something. I don't know why people do that.
Well, maybe
I
back in
sure
those
wouldn't.
days it was different, I guess.
So military. Here's your warning. Don't hire me to work at Area 51 because I'll blab.
You'll hear a blabber. You'll do a podcast about it, won't you?
Yeah, yeah, and then like a 5 hour podcast, like Al Bielek.
You'll just sit behind that desk and just keep going.
Yeah,
Al Bielek, I
just
need to
talk and
listen to
talk.
that again. And for
Yeah,
our
dude.
regular viewers, remember last week's discussion on Al Bielek, Bielek,
Yeah,
however his name
yeah.
is
Go
pronounced.
back and listen to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic there. That episode. It's going
I
to go
mean,
down
that's
in
like,
history.
can you imagine? So that basically started in like the 20s or 30s. All of that Philadelphia experiment, man. So it's been going on a long time.
Yep. Oh, longer. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it's been going on real long time. You hear about the ancient Hindu texts talking about these flying machines.
yeah.
I mean,
and they have drawings.
if they're 500 years past evolved from us, then obviously 10,000 years ago they had some spaceships. I mean, even 100,000 years ago, or whatever.
Yeah,
It's far beyond us.
yeah. I was listening to a discussion about UFO technology that's been handed out to corporations, like the story we were talking about earlier with Bob Lazar, where he was supposed to back engineer things. Well, supposedly, like all the technology we have, planes, trains, automobiles, computers, everything is a result of the technology that we've been given over the last 100 years. Because some of the first alien encounters were in the 1800s, like 1850, 60, 70, and 80, are some of the most documented. And there's some good researchers out there that have found hundreds of different stories from the 1800s of spaceships and aliens and encounters. But what do you think about abductions?
Mm, that's a whole different discussion, isn't it?
Yeah, because we're just talking general UFO stuff. We might as well just skirt
Well, so you
over
got different
issues
types of
or,
abductions
or
too, and you got
topics.
like the happy abductions where they're more just friendly and they want to enlighten you and tell you stuff, make you a better person. And then you got the ones the more
Right.
sinister stories of being sucked out of your bedroom and probed and brainwashed and all kinds of crazy stuff. I remember learning about that on Unsolved Mysteries. Remember that show?
Just the Yeah, hell yeah, heck yeah. Just the abduction phenomena itself, just the abduction phenomena by itself, or what did they talk about on that show?
Well, they would tell stories of somebody who had been abducted, and they'd show you. It got me all freaked out usually because I was like young, but they'd show you some video. Somebody, yeah, just the whole scenario getting abducted, probed. They're all scared. They don't know where they are, and they get like dumped off somewhere days
Yeah,
later
yeah.
in some field somewhere, naked and lost, and sometimes they have like some kind of metal embedded in their skin, and some kind of unknown alloy.
Yeah, exactly. So my kids and I, we started watching X Files from season one, episode one, all the way through. The last season is 9. So we're at like 8 right now, and Mulder's entire season, he's been abducted by aliens.
Mulder's
So
been
season
abducted.
8, yeah,
Seems like I
season
remember
8
some of those
start.
later, yeah, episodes.
So I watched. I think it was on Saturday nights or Friday nights or something like that. Like throughout its entire existence. I don't even know if they ever changed dates, but I think it was Friday night or Saturday night. And I watched it a lot. And every time I come across an episode that I can recognize the faces, I can recognize some of the phrases, but for the most part, I barely remember any of it. And I watched it a lot.
Well, I remember he was
So,
always in
but
the quest to find his sister or his, yeah,
that's right. Yeah, yeah. His
yeah.
sister was abducted when he was a kid. That's what
Hmm.
made him. That's what it led him into the X Files in the first place. So anyway, abductions are pretty wild. Um,
Yeah.
there's a good. There's some really top-notch researchers out there that categorize and catalog all the abductions. So, and they found that I don't know if this is the correct percentage, but I think it was 70% of the abductees have Native American bloodlines or DNA. At
Hmm.
least the ones in America that get abducted. And then Australia, it's something like 85% have Aboriginal
Hmm.
DNA. So you got to wonder, like, in the Aboriginals in Australia, they're still like, what is a plane and what's a car? They haven't some of those people in Australia haven't even seen anything except for contacts with UFOs
Yeah, it's
and the
hard to believe,
technology
isn't
they
it?
have. Yeah.
In the Amazon too, you would think.
So they, right, it's
Some
Amazon.
remote
So
parts of
it's like
Africa.
it's almost like the oldest living people that are on the earth are the ones getting abducted, not the ones that have been genetically modified. I mean, like we might be a separate experiment to the whole Native American. Um, I don't even know what to call them. I guess that's more ancient bloodline, but I think that's an unexplored area. That's something that someone has found out through DNA testing. Lots of money spent. That there is some sort of correlation to who gets chosen and why, and then uh, most of the experiences that people have are not good, like you said earlier. But then other times, people say that when they're not abducted by grays. Oh, and by the way, most of the abductions, from what I've heard, are gray aliens, and a lot of people theorize that those gray aliens are antennas of another consciousness. So
Hmm.
they're acting on. They're not. They're like robots. They're being controlled by someone else in another area of the universe. So if they die, they don't. The body may die, but
Hmm.
the spirit of it is
It's
somewhere
an
else
interesting
controlling.
theory, huh?
Yeah. So all these abductions may just be like an army of grays, but and then there's a theory that
An
all
army of grays.
the actual aliens that rule the universe, that control the universe, are human form people. With slight adjustments here and there, and all of the other reptilians and the dragons and all these, other alien races are stories.
Yeah,
But
just
anyway,
stories.
yeah. So the alien abduction thing, some people have like amazing experiences, but the researcher that I heard said that over 90% of them are horrible experiences where they're getting, no anesthesia, holes poked into their brains, and implants put in their necks, and all kinds of probes, and literally like anal probes,
Yeah, literally.
just like Cartman.
Of course. That's the
Um,
that's what it's the shock factor.
but hey, I'm glad. I guess I'm glad I'm not a Native American, because then I'd be getting pulled out of my bed by a ray of light and sucked up into a spaceship.
Yeah, be interesting. It's kind of like
So you sort of want it to happen, but then you don't.
it's kind of like the whatchamacallit, like the African tribesmen and stuff when the white people came in their ships to like steal them to be
Hmm.
slaves. That their experience was kind of, they had never seen those ships before. It was kind of similar.
Right. Alien.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what it is. You got these weird weapons, wearing these uniforms and stuff. Be pretty
Right.
confusing.
Could you imagine seeing a white person when I mean, for hundreds and thousands of years, you've only known black,
Yeah,
brown,
black, dark
dark
people.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you see like an albino with some
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of brown beard and red hair.
it'd be bizarre, wouldn't it? Talking some crazy language
Yeah.
with some weird.
I'm
Plus,
surprised.
the
I'm surprised they
clothing too.
didn't spear him right in the heart, right there.
Well, the clothing too is way different than whatever they were wearing. Yeah, well, I'm sure they did. I'm sure all kind of crazy stuff went down. They speared them and they got shot at, and right, they corralled them up. It's pretty wild to think how
Yeah.
people think we're so civilized these days, but we're really not that far from those uncivilized, quote unquote, uncivilized days. We're actually kind of more docile now.
Yeah. I mean, with all the war and militaries, I mean, what are you gonna do now? At least back then, you could run from the arrow.
Yeah,
But
you had a
now
chance, right?
now you got drones that can just explode you in a second.
Drones,
You
missiles,
might as well just bow
bombs.
down. Yeah, you might as well just bow. Like I mean, we live in America, but if you think about it, anybody that lives outside of America, they just bow down because, or outside of Russia or Europe or America, if you live outside of those countries, you just don't stand a chance right now. And I think that's how it's planned. One thing I wanted to say about the alien abductions, there's the guy that I was talking about. I was just kind of hovering over. His name is Daryl Sims. I looked him up. He's at alienhunter.org, and
Alien hunter.
he literally goes across the United States. He pays for all the DNA testing himself. Does crazy stuff. He's on podcasts. He's on radio shows. He's got videos on YouTube. So, alienhunter.org, if you want to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I got him. I got his website here. He looks like he means business.
He's been on. Let's see what shows. Like Hangar One, I think, on History Channel. I'm not sure if that's History Channel. It might be H2. But he's on TV. He's well known for his um, alien abduction. So here it is, appearing tonight on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. By the way, you want to hear alien stuff just 3-4 times a week? Coast to Coast AM. It's so good. I love that show.
Coast to coast.
So
It's
it was
great for
December
people who
9th.
spend a lot of time in the car.
True. Or
That's why
stayed late at
truck
night.
drivers are all about it, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
great
on
truck
satellite
driver.
radio. I think they have 300 AM stations across the United States. But Daryl Sims was on Coast to Coast December 9th, 2014. So go listen to that. It's a 4 hour show. So be prepared to listen to the radio for a long time.
Hey, if it's good, it goes by in no time.
True. All right, so we got USOs. How about unidentified submerged objects? What do you think about that?
Submerged. I think that's
Underwater.
well, it's pretty cool. I always kind of thought that the saucers were able to kind of just go wherever they want, you know, underwater, above water, wherever.
So yeah, people describe them as going. So they approach the water and they just slip into the water. There's no wave. The water doesn't even acknowledge it's going in. It just goes into the water like it's got a field around it that'll keep anything from reacting to it. It's kind of strange because you'd think if it can do that, then can it just zip right into the earth without making any disturbance to the soil? I mean, that's kind of strange.
Hmm. Maybe they do.
Maybe they, yeah, maybe they've discovered how light creates matter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I saw just online today a picture of light, and it was both particle and wave at the same time.
Whoa,
Did you see that?
no, that sounds pretty awesome.
See if I can find it. I'll post it on your page. Yeah. Now, whether it's legit or not, I don't know.
True.
It was really just like a kind
So
of a
okay,
cheesy
that's fine.
3D picture.
All right, so yeah, I mean, there's so many subjects that we can talk on. Um, So one of the really good researchers out there that I've started getting into recently is her name's Linda Moulton Howe, and she was like an actual on-camera news reporter,
Mm-hmm.
and she started getting into the UFO stuff, and they kicked her off air. And I think there was an actual like big deal, like she wanted to report something, and did a whole report on it, and they wouldn't allow her to, like they censored her. So, but she's on loads of YouTube videos, over the course of a month, podcasts, radio shows, all kinds of stuff. So I suggest people go and check out Linda Moulton Howe. Um, we were talking about the back engineering
Well,
from
mm-hmm.
Area 51 and Bob Lazar. There was another guy named Philip Corso, and Philip Corso was a very high level army person, like a, what do you call them, generals or admirals? I don't even know what the whole military system is and how you go up. But he was a big name person. He said he was in charge of taking some of these objects from the UFOs and giving them to corporations to try to back engineer. His name's Philip Corso. If you need to, if you want to read books about him, I mean, there's loads of those as well. Loads of books. You can find them those pretty much everywhere. It's just so many things. What do you what So another guy that's had UFO contact, his name is George Adamski. Supposedly had UFO contact. People have really crushed his story, and there's websites dedicated to saying that he's a fraud. But then there's other websites that say, look at this evidence. How could he even be a fraud? I mean, how could he do? But it's worth looking at. George Adamski. And also, George Adamski has, maybe I'm confusing someone, because I think George Adamski has looked into the sky with night vision cameras and seen UFOs fighting in space. Have you ever heard about that, Kevin or Eon?
Not fighting. I've heard of. I've just heard of people using the night vision to see all kinds of stuff going on up there, as well as above Area 51 that you just
Yeah.
can't see otherwise, and it's like insane.
So they talk about
Like
fleets.
the guitarist from Blink 182 was talking about that on his interview.
Yo, that was a good interview, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good interview.
That's on YouTube. I've
He's an
seen that.
interesting guy.
Yeah, what was his name again? Let's see. We'll have to find him.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
Blink 182 guy.
His name, yeah, it's slipping my mind. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's see if
Tom
we can Google search
DeLonge.
faster.
Tom DeLonge.
There you go. You beat me. Your computer's faster than mine.
Um, yeah, Tom DeLonge, dude. So you can find that video on YouTube right now. I looked not long ago to see if that was on there. His radio interview on Coast to Coast AM. That was really good. It's about 3 hours long as well. I wanted to listen to that twice. It was so good. But what were you mentioning about him? What was he saying?
We just talk about how they camped outside of Area 51 and they had like night vision headgear.
Oh yeah,
It was like mind blowing how much stuff was going on up there in the sky that you couldn't see otherwise. He was also talking about planning to go out there again with more equipment, and he's in talks with Dr. Greer as well.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So George Adamski, a Polish-born American citizen, became widely known in ufology circles and sometime into some degree in popular culture after he claimed to have photographed spaceships from other planets. Met with friendly Nordic alien space brothers. So I wasn't confusing them both. He actually has been in contact with Nordic alien space brothers, he says. And to have taken flights with them to the moon and other planets. He was the first and most famous so-called contactees in the 1950s. Adamski called himself philosopher, teacher, student, saucer researcher. Although investigators concluded his claims were an elaborate hoax, and that Adamski himself was a con artist. He has 3 books, but yeah, so basically he's a contactee. Lives near Mexican border. There's a whole Wikipedia on him. Everybody can go look at that. But there are people that are, you know, right behind him. Say he's like one of the most credible people out there. So, but then there's other people who say he's a hoaxer, maybe government agents, the CIA man.
CIA is a.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's stories like that that just go on and on and on. Um, so if you're just getting into UFO stuff, I mean, it's a big rabbit hole. It's super fun, and that's the whole reason me and Kevin, or me and Eon, I said it again. Me and Eon are here. Eon K. Grissom, and I'm Duke A. Royale, by the way.
Duque Royale.
That's right, baby. Anything else? So we were just gonna do a quick podcast here, and we ended up
Is
going a
anybody?
little
Can we
long.
see if anybody's listening live? I don't. I'm on the page here, but I don't. It doesn't show anybody. It doesn't show how many people are connected.
Yeah, I've got a chat circle over here, and no one's asking any questions.
You got some chat? You got some
But
people live?
no, nobody. I don't see anybody logged in. There's 0 viewers. It shows on the bottom. But the purpose of us doing this was just to get a podcast out there.
Just get it
So,
out there,
oh,
man.
yeah, I just saw a viewer click on, actually.
It's probably me.
Probably you.
Yeah.
Yep, there it goes.
It's
Zero
a great
viewers now.
background, by the way, for our viewers.
Yeah, yeah, trash can, and weight bench. I
All
like
kinds of junk. It's rugged. It's my man cave.
I know. I'm gonna keep it like that too.
And I guess we'll finish this with Bigfoot is also a alien, right?
Yeah, so people claim that Bigfoot starts appearing with UFO sightings. So if you're out in the woods and you're like, oh my God, what is that light coming towards the ground? And it goes like behind a hill, and then all of a sudden you start hearing howls from Bigfoot. They
There
might
you
go hand
go.
in hand. It might be a construct of the alien beings.
Probably is.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, we have FLIR cameras and stuff. People will have experiences with Bigfoot, and then come back an hour or two later with a FLIR camera and look over miles and miles and miles with a FLIR camera and not see any life out there. I mean, how's that even possible? The Bigfoot couldn't run 100 a mile. It wouldn't want to run 30 or 40 miles away, knowing that you're bringing a FLIR camera back. There's also FLIR cameras that sit on top of like eagles' nests, looking down. There'll be like a eagle's nest, and the FLIR camera will be looking down over a field or something to maybe see other birds flying in.
Hmm.
Those kind of things never catch anything. Why? You think Bigfoot are really that smart that they know where your deer stand camera is or a FLIR camera?
Probably not.
Um, who knows? I mean, they
Maybe
might
they
be more
do.
consciously evolved than we are.
Maybe they
Bigfoot's a
do.
pretty
Maybe
big.
they don't.
I need to go squatching.
Sasquatch.
I want to go squatching. You go camping and just start hooting and hollering.
Woo! Hootenannian. No.
We're getting loopy now.
We're a bunch of
10
Sasquatches,
p.m.
man. Yeah, it's about that time. So I guess we'll wrap it
Let's
up,
call
man.
it.
I gotta go hit the sack and go make some money tomorrow.
Yeah,
Pay some bills
yeah, of course. Yeah,
because they don't stop coming.
pay that rent.
Pay the
Well, you gotta get the
rent.
money so you can buy more UFO books. You gotta get more
That's
UFO
right.
books.
It's all about buying UFO books about the Pleiades,
Pleiadians.
Pleiadians.
Oh, one recommendation for book. This dude right here. Is that backwards to you?
There you
Can you?
go. No, it's correct.
Tibetan Book of the Dead. So
All
this book
right.
here was 1942, and I found
Mm.
it in the library. In
The
Georgia, we have
library.
a thing. Yeah, in the library. In Georgia we have a thing where I can reserve a book, and they'll deliver it to the nearest library to my house. So this book came from like Tifton, Georgia, which was this far south. They literally delivered it hundreds of miles to be, which is kind of weird that they even do that. But it says first published in 1927. So this is a second edition, and so that means it's pretty old. But it's crazy. It's starting to get pretty wild right now. Like just talks about well, I mean, and things you just I'd never even thought Buddhists did is in this book. But go read that book, Tibetan Book of the
Let
Dead.
me
You can
see if I
buy it
can get
on
the audio
Kindle and
book.
stuff. I just have a library card, so I use it.
That's a crazy concept, man.
Library cards.
Yeah, I guess I have one. Uh,
Yeah, you should too, because you're in a good county.
oh, that's right.
They got rockin' libraries where you are.
Yeah, we got some good money here in our county. Here's the oh, there's a movie, Tibetan Book of the Dead,
Oh yeah,
probably
yeah,
a
that's true.
documentary.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to
There's an
find the
audiobook
audio
too.
book here. There we go.
Ooh, there's a
Three
dog.
CDs. Yeah, there's the dog. The dog. Sorry, man. I'm
All
gonna
right.
call it a
Yeah, let's
night,
call it.
dude. But
This is the Q and
we'll be back.
yeah, it's the Q the A podcast.
Cue
Listen
the
to
A.
us. We're attempting to do every week, Mondays, and we may stream live here on YouTube. So look for us
Yeah,
there.
we're sorting it out. Whatever's gonna make sense.
Correct. We're playing with that stuff right now. We're posting. We've got the RSS feed coming soon. And this is Eon K. Grissom, and I am Duque Royale. We'll see you next time.